So here is a little illustration on how to achieve this backless waistcoat top or blouse. So first, I'm going to start by drafting out the back pattern, and I'm cutting this in a miniature form. Here is the shoulder to bust, waist and blouse length, right? So after marking this, you have to go ahead to mark your shoulder divided by 2. Go ahead to measure your shoulder and mark. For the neckline, you'll be using 3 inches by 1 inch for the back pattern because we're starting to draft from the back. Now, come down by 1 inch and connect to your neckline. The next step is to find your chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I'll mark. After that, place back your shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the chest line. Place your ruler and you're going to go ahead to connect. Now, I'm going to measure what I have here, divide it into 2 and add ½ inch. Here, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, connect to this point and also connect to the other side, which is my bust circumference divided by 4. Now, I'll mark my dart, and to mark the dart, you will start by dividing your nipple to nipple by 2 and you'll mark. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2, which will give me 3.5. I marked and I'll go ahead to connect. Mark ½ inch on both sides of your pattern, and after marking that, go ahead to connect this all the way down. Connect at the lower part of your pattern. Now, I'll be extending this all the way to the upper part, and I'll also mark at the other side of my pattern. Now, this is what I have. I'll go ahead to insert my measurement. Mark your bust circumference divided by 4, add your sewing allowance. Your waist circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, replace and add your sewing allowance. Mark your hip circumference divided by 4 and add your sewing allowance. Now, go ahead and place your ruler to connect. I'm going to connect from the upper part to the waist and from the waist to the lower part. Come up by 1 inch, 1.5 or 2 inches from the lower part of your pattern and connect this. Next step I'll take is just to go ahead to cut this out, right? After cutting this out, I'll be using this pattern to trace out the front. If you don't want to go through the process of recutting your pattern again, just place it and retrace. But when you're retracing, make sure you add a button allowance, and you're also going to have a lapel and collar at the front. Just have extra measurements at the upper part and in front of your pattern. Now, I'm just going to hold this down and I'll trace out what I have from the shoulder to the armhole and also to the sides of the pattern and the lower part. After tracing out, I'm just going to go ahead to make mark at the bust, waist, chest line area, so that I'll go ahead to rule out a line there. Here's the chest line, here's the bust line, here is the waist line, right? So for the neckline here, you'll be using 3 by 3 inches for that of the front pattern, and you will connect. After you're done connecting at this point, I'm just going to measure the neckline of that of the back. Whatever you have, extend it all the way to the back pattern. Sorry for the double lines here. Extend the neckline of the back pattern all the way to the back. Now come out by ½ inch and reconnect. This is to enable the collar to relax very well. Now, after I'm done marking that, I'm just going to go ahead to come down and connect my neckline. You notice this is after the under bust, so go down towards the waist of close to the waist or between the waist and the under bust of your pattern and connect for the neckline. Come out here about 1 inch for your button allowance for that of your front pattern, right? Now, after marking that, go up a bit from the lower part and slant this. Now, I'll now reconnect this back to the waistline. So this is what I have at this point. And after marking that, for the collar and lapel area, you're going to add like an extension. So I'll extend this from this point going down, and this is what I have. Now let's work on the collar. So come in a bit and then you can connect from the collar depending on the measurement you want to use, 2.5 inches, 2 inches or 3. Mark it and connect it all the way down. Now I'll mark 1.5 inches here and I'll slant it to the neckline of the back, then reconnect it towards the armhole. So I'm cutting this like a backless pattern, right? A backless waistcoat or blazer, backless blazer top. So now I'll go ahead to replace all these dots that I have on the other pattern by marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2, connecting a straight line, and I'll mark ½ inch on both sides and I'll connect. So after I'm done marking this, I'll trace out the chest line of my pattern and I will cut this out. So this is what I have, and I'll just go ahead to trace this out. Just going to go ahead to trace this out and show you what my results or what the pattern looks like. So now I'll just leave this collar this way because I just want to show you what it's going to look like after cutting. So this is what it will be like. So go ahead to cut out the collar area and you'll be placing it back, unless you just want to cut it like a short collar with a little notch.